Coming up, the life of James Earl Jones. I'm going in depth. I'm very upset by this. I just love James Earl Jones, and I have a personal connection to him. But now I've oversold that. It's not going to be as good as, people are going to go like, oh, that's not really a personal connection.
He tell you to move in an airport.
Less.
Less interaction?
Less interaction than that. Let me say that.
Okay.
Also, a quick update. We had Titillation Tuesday today, and said this song is one that is best to make love to. It's a Donna Summer song, Love to Love You, Baby. Chris Demm from memory says, I want to say, this was Chris Demm, that Miss Summer, during the recording of this song, simulated sexual climax 23 times. Fact checker Rusty did the research on this, 22.
Ooh.
That's pretty close.
Just a bit outside.
Yeah, but off the top of your head,
okay, thank you.
I'm pretty impressed with that.
I'll take it.
I'm more impressed with the picture of that Chris Kelly Vagine candle, but that's very, very impressive as well. Both are. So a couple of things about life and death in this segment, including the death of the great James Earl Jones. First of all, Drew Barrymore says she's taken 2 months to study her entire life and how close she sits to guests on the set of her show, The Drew Barrymore Show, which is a live television talk show.
Now, is that one of those things that became a thing when just people started talking about it on social media?
I believe Austin Butler, who went on to promote a movie, the guy that played Elvis, said something on his social media because she was later, yeah, she was all over him. She was, and people started looking at the video.
She did the same thing, I believe, when Kamala Harris was on.
To all her guests, I mean, she gets right up close to them.
And you know what's going to happen? People will now come on to the Drew Barrymore show and say, "Hey, sit close to me.
Sit close.
I want that.
Yeah, I'd want you next to me."
Well, yesterday she was on her set of her show with some members.
New season?
New season starts this week. Oh, incidentally, off topic, Ryan Seacrest last night, first night on Wheel of Fortune, nailed it. Totally nailed it.
He didn't do too much. I thought he did just enough. He let the game be the game.
Perfect. He's perfect.
I loved it.
Wonderful job, Ryan Seacrest.
If you're listening.
Is this your brush with Seacrest?
Well, yes.
Your personal connection?
Well, I've stood right there where he stayed. I was on Wheel of Fortune once.
Not that set.
New set.
That's right. They did. I don't know. The set seemed a little too blue and a little too bright for me.
And you were in San Diego.
I wasn't even that. It was L.A. Yeah.
The set looked a little cheap to me.
I agreed. It wasn't.
I hear it's very blue.
It is.
Yeah.
The old set was a little more homey. I liked it better. But Seacrest, he took exactly the right amount of time to pay tribute to Vanna, to his predecessor, Pat Sajak, to the game itself. And he basically said, I just hope I can fill the shoes. It's almost impossible of Pat Sajak.
Is it?
And he paid wonderful respect to the game. He's like, this game, I grew up watching it, and it's just, it'll long outlive me. I hope I can do it justice.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Mwah. Wonderful job by Ryan Seacrest last night.
Better debut than Tom Brady.
Better
as a broadcaster.
Better debut than Tom Brady. But of course, he's been there. I mean, he's done American Idol forever, and
the guy's very comfortable on stage.
He's a great talent. He looked very smooth, and why not? He's been on those sets before. So back to Drew Barrymore, who the criticism is she gets over right next to her guests and actually touches them sometimes. And some guests, I guess, went on and said, "Oh, she's too close." Well, yesterday she was on the CBS morning show, and I guess CBS probably produces that. But they're sitting on her set. I only know one of the guys, Nate Burleson, who's a...
Well, Gayle King's on the CBS.
Yeah, and Gayle King. I think Gayle King was sitting there.
The third guy I don't know.
I don't know him either. But they were sitting there talking to Drew Barrymore, and she said, I'm going to try my best not to sit so close.
It's so funny because consistently over the last 5 years, it's that I'm too touchy and too close to people, which is so embarrassing.
But that's a part of the show. It's woven in the fabric of what the show is.
And it's your authentic self.
That intimacy. Right?
I don't know if I can break the habit either. So I'm like, I hear you and I'll do my best, but it is so hard.
It's hard. Drew, I know what I'm going to do.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
You do you, Drew.
So brave.
What a double standard. I mean, honestly, I think if we didn't like Drew Barrymore and it was coming off in a different way, it'd be like, ugh, gross, stop sitting so close to people, But then she's America's sweetheart, so she says,
But it's a non-story. I mean, one guy went on there and said, I can't believe how close she sat. And then it became a thing.
I know. It really is.
And now she has to sit further away. But I can't not be Drew.
I can't do it. And then, of course, they have to say, it's who you are. It's who you are. You're Drew Barrymore. Come sit. And you're right. Yeah. Then Gayle King said, come over and sit closer to me.
Yeah.
And she did. She went over,
Sit on my lap.
That's basically what she does.
Closer.
Closer still.
We'll be watching to see.
Will we?
If Drew, actually, I've never seen an episode of that show. I can't believe it's made it 5 years. But
I can't either.
You know, that's Drew do Drew, and that's what she's doing.
Does she still do Drew's News?
Yes. In fact, behind her on that set, it said Drew's News, which was panned early, but now apparently has made it and done just fine.
Well, maybe she filled the gap. With the young lady that Biggie liked, well, not young, but Wendy Williams.
Right.
Her show's gone because poor Wendy's not healthy.
Well, I'll tell you, the big thing, Kelly Clarkson was big there for a while, but I don't hear near the things about her show that I now hear about Drew Barrymore's show.
I know. It's like Drew has taken that spot. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from either. Of course, I was stunned yesterday to hear that Jimmy Fallon was going to 4 days a week. I was all up in arms. Like, how could what? Well, they're all 4 days a week.
I demand a
No.
Nobody does?
Nobody does. They all do
does.
4 days a week. So they're doing a rerun on Fridays on The Tonight Show. This is a matter of life and death. The governor of New Hampshire is being hailed a hero today because he saved someone's life in a restaurant. His name is Chris Sununu. You may have heard of him. He was in a restaurant over the weekend, and they were doing an eating competition in the restaurant. He wasn't part of it. He was just sitting there eating with his wife. But one of the guys who was taking part in the eating competition, they were eating lobster rolls as fast as they could.
Oh, God.
He started choking. The guy started choking. So Sununu went over and did a Heimlich maneuver on the person who was eating the lobster roll. Chunk of lobster came flying out of his throat. Here's the thing, and Sununu talks about it here. The guy went back to the eating competition. He continued the eating competition.
The gentleman at the far end, who I was kind of watching, he took a pause. He was having trouble getting something down. I started saying, he's choking, and I could tell people weren't responding. So I just moved forward and immediately started to kind of give him the Heimlich. He went right back to the contest, which I couldn't believe. He ate another 7 lobster rolls after that, right down the gullet.
My counter came up to me and made a joke and was like, oh, I bet nobody else can say that they've gotten a Heimlich from the governor before. I looked at him and was just like, that was the governor?
I didn't know that was the governor. Who would think that the governor would be giving a Heimlich maneuver?
So the governor wasn't there to watch the competition.
No.
He was just having
he was
dinner.
just having dinner and watching the guy there on the far right. He said it was a spectacle. And they didn't announce that it was the governor or anything. He just likes to eat there, I guess. So the counter comes up and says, hey, man, that's the governor.
Well, that's a great story for the eater guy.
7 more lobster rolls after the fact.
That has to be the most insane thing in competitive eating. Because a lobster roll is thick. I mean, and that's bready. Yeah, I can see someone choking there.
I don't love lobster. I'm finally on record as saying it. I've had it 2 or 3 times. I just don't love it. And people say, well, you haven't had it prepared the right way. That may be true. But I just don't love lobster.
I've only had a lobster roll once in my life, and I remember loving it. I've never had one since.
Well, now the lobster roll might be really good because it's got your mayonnaise and all that.
Yeah, well, there's 2 kinds, I believe. There's like a cold one that has the mayonnaise. There's like a hot one with the butter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I've had the cold one.
I've only had a cold one.
They're good. Now those are good.
I'd like to try one.
I like that better than just getting like the meat out of
like a lobster tail.
Yeah, but I think it's only because I've had lobster only a couple of times like that and didn't love it. I had it at a restaurant in Orlando.
Was the word red on the marquee out front?
I'm not commenting on that.
Don't.
I knew that would be. I am not commenting.
Or a bubba.
I'm not.
If you're in Orlando, it's possible.
I won't comment on it. I won't say one word about that. Let's get to the great James Earl Jones. I heard he died yesterday, and I was like, oh, my God. I almost didn't come into work. I was that taken back by it. He was only 93.
Only 93.
What do you think he's best remembered by? Is it the voice of Darth Vader?
I think so. I think
do too.
What I've seen the most is Darth, then Lion King.
Yes.
And then Field of Dreams. Those are the 3 that I see the most.
That speech at the end of Field of Dreams.
It's baseball,
it's
right?
baseball. People will come.
For people my generation, the movie called The Sandlot. He was also
very good in that.
I love, his character in that at the end is great.
That's all
He's
true.
a blind retired baseball player.
That's right.
It's probably the better baseball movie.
Oh, I agree.
The Sandlot.
I agree. It's better than Field of Dreams.
Rusty and I had a private conversation, our fact checker of the program here, and I said, would Kelly grit his teeth and play James Earl Jones' speech from Field of Dreams, which, Kelly, you're on the record as saying you hate.
I hate the movie.
It was the first thing that popped in my head after his death.
I hate the movie, and I hate his character in the movie.
And yet, today you must.
We must, because he's passed, and it's very famous.
People will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they like.
Really what that is a scam to get people out of $20 seeing a baseball field in a cornfield. But I digress.
See what you did there?
I digress. I do not like Field of Dreams. I've always hated. You know that. From the moment I saw it. And then my friend who was an ally in that, who also hated it, once he had kids who played Little League Baseball, he said, now I love Field of Dreams. And I said, oh, come on. Don't give me that.
Is it because your son was not a great Little League ball player?
He was not even a good Little League ball player. I tried to make him into one.
Yeah, there's a very famous photograph of you in a Pirates outfit as a player coach.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Yes, that was one of my low moments.
One of your heavier eras.
That was the heavy era of me. And
the heaviest pirate.
That could be your movie.
The heaviest pirate. People will eat, Ray. I ate a lot that day. Yes.
These clothes are made of spandex. It gives, Ray. It gives.
Man, yes, I was the heaviest pirate.
People will come to see the heaviest pirate.
The heaviest pirate. More famous, perhaps, for Star Wars.
She must have hidden the plans in the escape pod. Send a detachment down to retrieve them. See to it personally, Commander. There'll be no one to stop us this time.
Yes, sir.
Incredible. Incredible. That's my connection to
You've
James.
seen Star Wars?
More than that. More than that. I was at a basketball game once, Wake Forest basketball game, and James Earl Jones was there, which I was surprised by that, obviously. He was up in a luxury box, and they showed him on the big screen. I was like, oh my God, that's James Earl Jones. And he waved and smiled. That's probably why I think he was such a wonderful guy, because he waved and smiled. And the Wake Forest pep band started playing the Darth Vader theme.
The march.
And that was just, and he loved it. He got up and did the waved and stuff. So cool.
Did he air choke?
He did. He air choked.
Opposing coach.
Yes. So awesome. That's my only connection to James Earl Jones. And he was across the stadium. I didn't even, I would never have actually seen him.
Yeah.
But when that band started playing that, I thought, well, that's pretty cool. That really worked. Here's his maybe most famous line he ever uttered.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
Is that his most famous line? I think so.
It has to be.
More even than the Field of Dreams line.
Oh, yeah. And anything from Lion King. Or even This Is CNN.
Oh, I love This Is CNN. That's one of my...
This is CNN, a network of Turner Broadcasting System.
Best voice I've ever heard. I think it's the best voice I have literally ever heard. Don't you, James Earl Jones? Incredible. Incredible. He, by the way, had a severe stutter when he was a kid, and worked his way out of the stutter by reading poetry. He would, his grandmother who raised him got him, because he was so shy, and it was like a mental thing, and he had a terrible stutter. And once he got out of it, he realized, I could do something with my voice and with acting, and he wound up he's one of the few that got the EGOT, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award. He won the Grammy for Best Spoken Word Album, Great American Documents, in 1977. Apparently, celebrities would just read documents.
Yeah, because I did some fact checker Rusty style deep diving on the spoken word Grammys.
Yes.
Because I think the Obamas have won one.
Yes.
Or at least Barack has, and maybe Hillary Clinton has won a spoken word Grammy.
Right.
And back then, they would have, it was not uncommon for famous people stage actors, screen actors, to just read speeches or poems.
That's what he did.
And they would get nominated.
Yeah. So he won the Grammy.
When in the course of human events,
Now,
it becomes necessary for what?
the Oscar was not for Lion King.
Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic.
You know, if we have an absent friend who would be very upset that you've pushed Coming to America this far down the list.
I know.
King Joffrey.
We have Coming to America.
I'm King Joffrey Joffer, ruler of Zamunda.
Yeah, we'll have a seat. Chair number 2 be ready in a second.
I've not seen Coming to America.
That's real miss on your resume.
That is such a gap.
Okay, we have a vacation coming up. I'm going to watch Coming to America and that other one that I haven't seen with about the rug, tying together the rug.
The Big Lebowski.
Big
No,
Lebowski.
Don't
No.
shoot for both. Just pick one.
Coming to America, I think you'll love.
Yeah,
so watch
All right,
that.
watch Coming to
But
America.
remember, Big Lebowski is one of those that the more you watch it, the funnier
better
it gets.
Mm-hmm.
One time through, I think you'll come back and be like, yeah, Coming to America, I think you'll like out of the gate.
Well, this one, I've literally heard 5 seconds of Coming to America.
I'm King Joffrey Joffer, ruler of Zamunda.
Yeah, we'll have a seat. Chair number 2 be ready in a second.
Man, I like it. I like what I've heard.
Well, that's the barbershop scene.
Okay, well, I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know anything about it, but I like that very, very much. So he got his Oscar as an honorary Oscar for like a lifetime of work. You know, he was nominated in 1970 for Best Actor for The Great White Hope, but he lost.
No, I've never seen that whole movie. That was, I guess that he won the Tony for that, right?
Yeah, he
the
did.
play.
Yes, he did.
Then a couple years later, they made the feature film out of it. That's the story of Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion of the world.
Very rare. The EGOT obviously is very rare.
And when you see clips of that, it's
he's great.
Because when you see him, we're so used to seeing him as an older man.
Yeah,
you know, he was this young physical presence on the stage
as a boxer,
on the screen,
young, thin, muscular. I mean, I always know him basically from what he was in Field of Dreams. You know,
there's a new Lion King movie coming out. It's the story of Mufasa.
Yes,
he's the cub.
Yeah,
and so it's like he and was it Scar?
Yeah, as brothers.
It's the story of how they became brothers,
and they're enemies.
And then
Scar's the villain.
I don't know how it ends up in this new one. But Kelly and I heard this morning that James Earl Jones gave Disney permission to AI his voice, so he may be in the new one.
He can be in Darth Vader. He can be Darth Vader still too. They'll use all he has said in the past, and he signed a document giving permission that they can use him and AI it and build on, so you get more as Darth Vader.
So you have accepted the truth.
I've accepted the truth that you were once Anakin Skywalker, my father.
That name no longer has any meaning for me.
I like the fact that he gave permission for that, because that's such an iconic character, both Mufasa and, of course, Darth Vader. It's like, why not? Yeah, let it go on. This is the first time I'm going to say
You've never said this.
I like AI.
You've never said this.
I'll take that. Because it's voice work. It's not like they're recreating some sort of hologram of him. Mark, you're talking about James Earl Jones. Go ahead.
Yes, when you saw him at that game, he was actually at Wake Forest to give a speech.
Uh-huh.
And I saw he was going to be there and went over to the campus and actually got to meet him and shake his hand. And he signed a Darth Vader photo for me and took a photo with me. And could not have been kinder.
I feel
actually thanked me.
Fantastic. I just feel like he was one of the best guys. Just what you just said. Could not have been nicer, kinder. That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. So he has more of a brush than I do by a little.
Much more.
I was in the stadium. Remember, I was in the stadium.
Yeah, with 12,000 others.
Okay. At least. I think they're playing Carolina for like 18 down. And I was cheering against the team. You
were in the wrong color.
That's right. That's right. The Simpsons. One more thing on James Earl Jones. Passed at 93 with his family surrounding him. The Simpsons one time did a thing where Lisa had lost her mentor, Bleeding Gums Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
And she looked up to the clouds, and there was Bleeding Gums Murphy. And for some reason, James Earl Jones came along as I believe, Mufasa, then as Darth Vader, and then as the voice from CNN.
You made an old jazz man happy, Lisa.
You must avenge my death, Simba. Simba. Luke, I am your father. This is CNN.
Will you guys pipe down? I'm saying goodbye to Lisa.
We're sorry.
A little James.
I think it's
Earl.
Harry Shearer.
You know, I don't think it is him either. I don't think it's him either.
Yeah.
His face comes up. It doesn't sound exactly like him, does it?
That's right.